My name is Peter Vega, Executive Director at the Chicago Cultural Alliance. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the Alliance. We are an active consortium of 40 cultural heritage centers in the city of Chicago. These are museums and cultural centers that are in 30 different neighborhoods throughout the city. I actually originally am not from Chicago. I moved to Chicago 7 years ago, but I grew up in New York City and the Bronx specifically. And I lived in a world where I was a person of color that didn't necessarily fit in all the time. But in the Bronx, I felt like I had some connections to other people of color there. The Bronx became a pretty dangerous place, even though it's a beautiful city in New York. But my family moved from there to upstate New York, to the suburbs. And I was kind of a change for me in my life where I, was living in a neighborhood surrounded by mostly white people and not people of color. And it's really changed who I was and how I was perceived, especially because I was a young student in high school at the time during this move. But this change made me disconnect a bit from my culture. I am Puerto Rican. Most people don't know because of my general look doesn't allude to a specific culture. And so I want to take the time today to share a little bit about how the Cultural Alliance really does help people embrace and connect back to their own cultures. I personally, now as Executive Director of the Alliance, have moved into a world where I'm embracing much more of my Puerto Rican culture and the culture of all others as well. And this is, as Lydia said, this is one of the many reasons that the Chicago Cultural Alliance has started Taste from Home. We're spending a lot of time at home now with each other, with our families, connecting over food. I know many people are spending time trying out new recipes and sharing new ways of connecting with their families. And Taste from Home is really a way for us to highlight the importance of food in its power of sharing culture and tradition and connecting us with family and friends. And this is more than just about the delicious food. It's actually also about the stories that are connected with that food. And these stories help us connect to one another, not just through the food, but through just personal experience. And I plan to share my own recipe as well as a part of this. I will be sharing a Puerto Rican recipe, but actually my first recipe that I'll be sharing on Monday, on June 15th, when we officially launch Taste from Home, will actually be lox and bagels, a nod back to New York City, because that's where I am from. And I spent some time in quarantine making some lox and bagels and from scratch, and actually really enjoyed the process. So I'm going to be sharing that and sharing more stories from our staff and from the board of directors of the Cultural Alliance, and also the 40 cultural heritage centers throughout the city will also be participating. We'll also be collecting donations to continue to support the Chicago Cultural Alliance and the work that we do. We couldn't do this work without the support of individuals who help bring culture to the city of Chicago with these cultural heritage centers throughout the city. These institutions are pillars of their neighborhoods and their community, and we really need to be there to support them through this, especially through the pandemic and the difficult times of civil unrest. This is an important time for us to get together and support culture and support heritage in the city of Chicago. I want to thank you all at the Peace School for allowing me to be here and to share our story with you and to share Taste from Home, and I hope you all can join us in sharing stories and recipes that connect us to one another. Thank you so much.